Now that video, of course, shows two things, two very different things. It shows people clapping for Ketanji Brown Jackson, who had just been voted to be confirmed to the Supreme Court, the first Black woman ever in history to do that. At the same time, though, it reminds us of why it took until 2022 for that historic mark to finally be met. Because while they were clapping, others, the distinguished senators on the Republican side, were storming out in a huff. They were so angry, so frustrated by the fact that they weren't able to block Ketanji Brown Jackson from getting onto the court that they decided, we're not gonna take this. We're just gonna walk out, Viviana. And it is so pathetic, so petty. They already made a mockery of the process. They already smeared her in a million unfair conspiratorial ways. And that wasn't enough for them. They had to storm out like little kids.
Guess what? They didn't do it. You could try to smear, you could try to, it didn't work. She's in, guys, sorry. And you know what? I'm not surprised at their behavior. It's very common for, in this country, we've seen particularly white men in power or any, white men in general be extremely difficult to Black women in their own home, in their business, spit on the floor, do kinds of things just to intentionally say, I don't care about you. This was their way of doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It's petty, it's pathetic. And we already know, by the way, we covered earlier in the week, polls showing that people don't like this. All the ridiculous, bombastic claims, though people were not a fan. Like, sure, some of the most deplorable people in the country love it because they see someone like Ketanji Brown Jackson and they know everything they need to know at first glance. But most people don't like this. But I want to be clear though, when I say that it's petty, I don't just mean that some walked out like you saw there, because those people that walked out, they at least showed up. Some were even pettier than that. And so I'm gonna turn to John Harward, who pointed this out on Twitter. Lindsey Graham didn't wear a tie for the occasion of Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation to become the first Black woman. That meant he wasn't even allowed in the Senate floor and voted no from the cloakroom. And then, if that isn't bad enough, Harwood points out, all the more remarkable for the fact that Graham was wearing a tie at a press conference earlier in the day. He took it off. And I don't know why, but in my mind, all I could do was zoom in on the last part. He took it off, he took it off, he took it off. Yeah. He was dressed in senatorial attire.
It goes right what I was saying. Intentionally disrespecting her. Making an effort to not tip his hat, so to speak, right?
He took off his hat.
This is something that has happened to Black people and Black women in particular in this country, and on a day that we should all be celebrating, and I know I was, women across the country should be celebrating that there's another woman on the Supreme Court. We need her. This is a very important day. And he did everything he could do to not wipe his shoes before he went in her house. Just disrespect. And he's a Southern guy, right?
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be high class. Them, right? No, he knows how to disrespect somebody. He's been taught. Exactly.
They teach you in the South how to be disrespectful too.
Yep, he knows how to dress for specific occasions. You wear like a seersucker suit during a certain month. No, he knows all that stuff, and he decided to be a sucker. Actually, in this case, leaning in out of the cloakroom to vote no, like you're Kirsten Sinema. But anyway, Jen Psaki was asked about the fact that some of these petulant children stormed out, and here's what she had to say.
It tells us that Senator Rand Paul cast his vote from the GOP cloakroom. He was in casual clothes without a suit jacket or tie, so unable to come onto the floor. The reports, I think, 2 other Republican senators may have done similar. Is that an appropriate way to vote on a historic occasion like this?
I will tell you, I'm not spending a lot of time, nor is the president, thinking about the dress code of Rand Paul today. We're thinking about the historic confirmation of an eminently qualified Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. Not really worried about his khakis.
That's pretty funny. I think we can do both though. It is historic and it is awesome. And it's also incredibly petty. By the way, people are saying in the chat, like, why do they have to wear ties? No, I'm all the way with you. I think that the dress code is pretty ridiculous.
It's not the point. It's that he
knows what the dress code is. That's the point. He purposefully couldn't come in because of the dress code because he took it off. He sleeps in a tie. It takes special effort for him to not have one on, and that is of course.
I think there was a little bit of a Freudian slip right now when you said he took it off. I bet it is a clip-on. I bet.
No shade to people who have to use clip-ons. It's been a long time since I've worn a tie. I don't even know if I for sure could actually tie one.
I couldn't do it. I could barely tie a bow. No, it really is just a matter of him making an effort, Rand Paul making an effort, those who didn't applaud, all of that is just, they're gonna be in history doing that. So, okay, that's your legacy. Be proud of it.
Exactly, and look, we were lucky enough that the actual vote was confirmed during the last few minutes of TDR yesterday, so I got a little chance to talk about it. But what do you think about the fact that it did actually succeed? They weren't able to stop her. She's gonna be on the court.
Yeah, no matter what you guys did and tried, you put so much pressure on her, and here she is standing strong, and we are so proud. We are so happy. This is gonna be a big win for women in the nation. This is going to be a big win for people of color as well. Not that she votes any which way, but simply having another mind there on the court to be able to weigh on different cases is going to give us as a nation more justice, I really feel. And I'm really excited, and I'm really happy that it was almost like in your face. You couldn't do it. You tried. You couldn't do it. They did it with Merrick Garland, but they couldn't do it with her. And so it's very exciting that she's there. I'm just really proud of the fact that we're able to get it done. And Jen Psaki, I mean, what's she supposed to say? You know what I mean? She kind of said it without saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The bringing up the khakis says everything that you need to say. Like she's gonna throw a little shade at them. Like he's wearing one of them was apparently wearing like a golf shirt.
Yeah.
You're in the Senate. What are you wearing a golf? Like you're gonna tee off in the hallway? What is you had to bring that?
They're frat boys, John. They're frat boys. We got to get frat boys out of Washington. I'm done with them. Get out. We don't need you.
No, exactly.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.